Hello, 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 and welcome to Father's Talk today. I'm your host named Hague. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for taking the time to share and experience this today with me. Really looking forward to getting into our topic on today and really looking forward to sharing with you on today. So, let me say hello and happy Thanksgiving to you all. Hopefully, it was a day of merriment, of joy, getting together and spending time with loved ones and being able to talk about and discuss just good times and being able to share with others. So, today, and let me also apologize for previous scheduling of Father's Talk and not being able to get on with you again. Uh, really, there's just no excuse, but just want to let you hear my sincerest apologies and my desire to want to be able to be and to stay and to remain consistent before you. So, with that being said, and with that being done, let's get into our topic for today. So, today we're talking about self check. Now, self check, I wanted to add something else to that. So, not just having things in line or things in place to gauge where you are and what you're doing, but also having people in place and not having yourself surrounded by people who will just accept anything and everything you say as gold. Because sometimes you need somebody that you can speak to, that you can talk to, who will tell you, you know what, I know that to you that sounds good and it seems great, but here may be some things you haven't considered. Here may be some things you haven't seen, especially when you're talking and dealing with a person or people who have been in the place that you're attempting to go. Wise counsel is always good. But again, the emphasis there is wise counsel. Because some people will just tell you what they think or what they feel, and really that has no bearing on the situation at all. But what you need is to be able to have and to get wise counsel. Those who will really not just give you opinion, but will give you fact, will give you information, will give you details, will give you substantials that are critical to your success. The implementation of what you want to do is really based upon certain factors. And if they've experienced it, if they know it, if they're in it, then they would have seen things that maybe you haven't considered. And again, that's why it's called wise counsel, not a wise cracker. So just take and give yourself literally similar to the saying that we have and that we place emphasis on here. Give yourself every opportunity to succeed. So talk to those, surround yourself. Honestly, it's not going to hurt to be around people who are smarter than you, people who have more experience than you, people who have reached the places that you want to go. Because let's be honest, if we could all be friends or associate ourselves with a millionaire or with millionaires, would we do it? Yes. And then what else would we do? We would glean from their good habits. The things that they do that have made them successful, we'd be like, okay, I see that. I'm going to emulate that. I'm going to repeat that. I'm going to get that working in and before me for myself so I can experience some of the same successes, some of the same triumphs that you've been able to receive. And so by having, and again, we've talked about it before, but having those mentors. But I also want to encourage you to not only have those who will help you, who will aid you, who are willing to correct you. Because if we can accept correction, then we can grow. It's where we don't accept it, don't when we become stagnant and we just keep ourselves in one place in one spot, and that's as far as we'll go. That's when we hurt ourselves. That's when we interfere with a pattern of life that could be meant for us. But because we're unwilling to accept, unwilling to receive, unwilling to change in some areas, what happens? We create cycles. And until we do something to change, that cycle does not end. So let's be willing to get help where we need help. And also be willing to listen to those whom we've talked about before in that circle. There are people who know you, who love you, who treasure you, who respect you, and want to see only good come to you. But we have to be willing to listen. We have to be willing to take what they say with a grain of salt, or take what they say and allow it. Sometimes just be still for a minute and take in what somebody's saying to us, so that we can begin to gather our thoughts, our emotions. Because a lot of times when people speak, we're so quick, I'm gonna shut them down, I'm gonna turn them off. It's not what I want to hear. Nah. When we need to take and consider what they're saying, and consider if it's helpful, if it's beneficial, if it will really aid us. It may not be what we wanted to hear. It may make us look at things differently. It may challenge the course and the actions of our thinking. But sometimes that's just a necessary part of life. That's necessary for us to get to the places that we intend to reach. That we have to look at really the path and the road that we're taking and assess, is this what's best for me? Is this what I need and where I need to go? Because sometimes, honestly, it may not be, and we don't see it. Why? Because we're so gung-ho about what we think, about what we believe, that we're willing to cut off everyone and anything else and just merely focus on what's before us. So that when those thoughts come, hey, I can do it, I can go, I can get there. So we're just running. And the people around us are trying to tell us, hey, you're running, but you're about to run into a brick wall. That's okay. I can deal with that when it comes. I can deal with it in that. Bow. And so then all progress, all the force that we've generated, everything that we've worked up to this point has now been stopped, has been shut down, has been cut off because we hit that wall. And we were not aware of what we were having to deal with, what was before us. And so really and truly, where is it? What is it? How much do we trust those who we put around us to not just say things that we want to hear, but say things that we need? It is so critical and so important that we have people who can help us to make qualitative decisions. But not only that, but also those people who can help us when we're hurting, when we're downtrodden, when we're dealing with difficult situations, perplexing problems, even those who can help us think our way through it. Because they may not have the answers, but maybe from just talking, from just sharing, we can get to a point into a place where, okay, I didn't have an answer. They didn't have an answer. But even as we talk, we start working things out. Things I didn't see before, I can begin to see now. And now maybe I can start to formulate some things. I can start to put some pieces together. I can start lining things up. I have direction. Now it's like I have a map. I didn't have one before, but I have one now. And so that makes me feel like I can excel, that I can truly move forward. And so really looking to change the course and the direction of things, and not merely because somebody said something, but good friends, good family, good people in your lives, and I'll throw in there good mentors. They're going to always, or not always, but they're going to say things sometimes that are going to make you really think hard about what you're doing. And let me say this, that is okay. That is okay. What's the old adage we hear? No man is an island. You're going to need someone to help you, to encourage you, to bolster you, to give you sight that you didn't, or insight that you didn't have concerning something previously. You're going to be in need of that. So as a result, you've got to come in contact with those things that are going to help lead you towards success. Even if that means maybe you have to backtrack because of the direction that you've been heading in. What's more important, pride and ego or success? And that's why we need those checks. We need those people who will pull out the red flag or the penalty flag and say, whoa, 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 whoa. Can't really whistle right now, but a penalty flag and say, hey, foul on the play. Don't go in that direction. Don't do that. Don't operate there. That's not really for you. Let's reel it back in. Let's come back and let's evaluate this thing. Let's really look at this thing. Let's take the time and analyze. Think this out. Because sometimes we're just motivated. And we'll just go and we'll just do something. But there's nothing that stands with it. There's nothing that stands behind it. And so it's almost like calling yourself a sprinter, but you really don't know how to run. So instead of being effective, you're active, but you're not productive. And let's clarify that. You can be doing things. You can be doing things left and right, hand over foot, and just constantly at work, busy, putting your hands on things. But if it's not productive, if it's not producing, if it's not putting you in a better position, if it's not opening up more doors, if it's not putting you in the best light, then it's not productive. So you can have all kinds of activity, but if the activity is not leading up to the point and to the place where it's going to be beneficial to you, you're just active and you're not really being productive. Here's an example. So say you want to go in, you want to clean the house. So you start laying stuff out. So you pull out the vacuum, you pull out the broom, you pull out the mop, you get the mop bucket, you get the soap, maybe you want to wax the floors after you mop the floor. So you pull out wax and you get the duster, you get a dust mop, and you get some rags and some furniture polish, and you pulled out everything. And it's like, okay, and I pulled out everything, and an hour's gone by. So then you just say, you know what? Let me make sure I've got everything. So another 20 minutes goes by. And then you're like, you know what? Let me just gather myself real quick before I get started. So another half an hour goes by. So you're 2 hours in. You haven't done nothing yet. So then you want to check and see what the kids are doing so they won't be in your way. So then you want to decide which room you want to start in. So then you want to clear your schedule and make sure that nobody's going to call and talk to you because you really want to get this done. And now several hours have gone by. You haven't done anything. You haven't been productive. The goal is to clean, but you've done everything else around cleaning but clean. And I know that's not us. No, that's not us. But sincerely, it's regarding and esteeming and setting priority. So when we know we've got priority, okay, this is how I'm going to operate. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to get done. And I'm going to work from here to here to here. And I'm going to move myself forward. I'm progressing along a plane. And the thing is, it should always take you in a direction that is going towards where you want to be. So check yourself and see if that's what's going on. Because if you're active, you're doing things, you're putting your hands on things, you're getting involved, but ultimately it's not leading to your goal, then maybe it's time to back up and reassess. Maybe it's time to see how productive I've actually been. Or am I just in the hamster wheel and just spinning the wheel? But I'm not getting there. That wheel's got a lot of speed. It's moving. I'm working because I'm working up a sweat. I've been working hard. I've been toiling. But I'm not getting anywhere. And that's when we need to really take the time and to really check with those in our circle, those who are around us, those who know us. Because it's okay to be passionate about something. But if that passion is not leading to productivity, then truly, what are we doing? How are we benefiting ourselves with our activity? So we have to be determined that what I'm doing is going to take me somewhere. I'm not going to be in the same place that I am 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line and see nothing as a result. Nothing coming up, nothing before me, nothing helping to aid or to move me, no advancement, no productivity, just staying in the same place, staying stagnant. And that's really something that we have to be careful and mindful of. If we want to see our lives really become powerful, become changing, become impactful, then let's pay great attention. Let's be skillful in how we see ourselves doing what it is that we're supposed to be doing. So say you're in a place and you're in a position and you make up your mind, you know what? I want to retire from this job in the next 5 years. Okay, what are you starting to put in place so that within 5 years' time or less, you can take care of your household without having to be on this job? And figure, and here again, here's where that wise counsel comes in. Here's where talking to others, but again, mind who you're talking to. We want wise counsel, not those who will just comment and say anything about anything just because they seem to know a lot. I'll be honest with you. I want to talk to those who are skillful thinkers. Have you ever asked a businessman, a successful businessman, what it took to run his business? How he had to operate, what he had to do? Here's an example. The Will Smith movie, The Pursuit of Happiness. What happened to the main character involved there? He found someone that he liked what they were doing. And he just openly just asked, hey, what do I have to do to be able to drive around in one of those? And he told him about the industry and what he did. So he determined that, hey, that's wise counsel. I'm going to listen to it. So I'm going to find out what it's going to take to get me here because I've been doing something that I thought would work. He was selling those devices, those scanners, to private doctors in the hospitals. Gave up his life savings to that point to start selling those and to try and generate additional income, greater income for his family. So gave up on his job to sell those. And it wasn't working out. Family was barely making it. He wasn't able to make rent and do things of that nature. And then things just kept spiraling downward. So he determined, you know what? I just heard something that made me think, made me consider, made me analyze the way that I'm doing things. And I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to give it a shot. Because of his willingness to change, because of his willingness to hear, and his willingness to work, to progress, not just be active, but to progress. It ended up opening up doors for he and his family, so that the place that he was in, he's never had to go back ever since. So even though it was rough, even though it was hard, even though it was difficult, he persevered, took advantage of the counsel that he got, and came out much better a person as far as his total and overall living as a result. So what does that look for us? How does that look for us? What does it look like? What does it take? What are we determined that we can do? And who is it that we're going to involve in our lives and in our situations so that we can see, hear, and experience life truly as we want it, the way that we believe that it should be? I tell you this, it's a call and a determination that only we can make. Regardless of who's with you, who's backing you up, who's supporting you, we have to be willing to make that call, to make those decisions, to put ourselves in the best situation so that we can have success. So what's that going to take? How are we going to get there? Can we get there? Are we determined to see that for ourselves? Are we going to move towards a goal, or are we going to suspend our activity because something's unpleasant, because it's difficult to deal with, because things are not going the way that I thought that they would? This is not how I envisioned it. So what are we going to do? How are we going to proceed so that we can succeed? So literally, if you have to start writing down questions to yourself, interrogate, interview yourself. Yes, interrogate and interview yourself to really see where you are, who you are, so that you can begin to move forward. Because the simple fact of the matter is, if you don't like who you are, if you don't like what you see, if you don't like the road that you're headed down, you can change it. You can change it. And I tell you this, it's okay to ask for help as you are proceeding down this path. It's okay to get guidance as you proceed down this path. It's okay to trust others as you proceed down this path. Because your going is all about your doing. And sometimes we need a self-check. We need those who can help motivate us, encourage us, even help to pull us up, lift us up at those times and in those places where it's hardest and where it's most difficult. Because I don't want to look up, and I'm sure this is true of all of us, I don't want to look up and have nothing but gray hair, but have things be exactly the same way that they are right now. I will really start wondering, what in the world have I done with my life? What have I brought to myself, to my doings, to my life that it doesn't remain in this same place, that I don't remain in this same place. So let's be determined to go somewhere by asking ourselves the hard and the tough questions. Am I truly serious about what I'm doing? Am I giving my all to what I'm doing? Have I exhausted all the means around me? Am I progressing, or am I just active? Or am I inactive and that's why I'm not progressing? Do I need to get help? Is this really the right direction, the right course for me to take? Because if you can't answer some of these questions, you really need to reevaluate where you're going and what you're doing. Self-check. Don't allow anybody else to be any harder on you, to scrutinize you more than you're willing to scrutinize yourself. Because then you become dependent. That's why on jobs there are supervisors, managers, because people can't supervise or manage themselves. They need to have somebody over them to tell them and to suggest to them what they need to be doing. For some, it's because they're not trustworthy. For others, it's just because they're lazy. There are a lot of different reasons why people need somebody watching over them to ensure that they do their job. Because what do we find out? Usually those who are self-motivated, who are trustworthy and reliable, they're usually the ones that end up getting the promotions. They're usually the ones who can advance on the job. So don't let disappointment, shortcomings, stop you from going forward. Let that help you, aid you, and encourage you to assess where you are, assess who you are, what you're doing, so that you can make sure that, you know what, I'm going to go forward. I'm going to advance. I'm going to give myself ample opportunity to succeed. And ultimately, I will succeed. I will make it. I am going forward. I will see my dreams come to pass. I will reach all of my goals because I'm determined, because I'm focused, and because I believe I can do it. Sometimes it's just that simple. I believe I can do it. So let's take the time, interrogate ourselves, interview ourselves, even ask the questions of those in your circle, your inner circle. Hey, you've seen my activity. You've seen what I'm doing. Does it seem like I'm getting anywhere? Does it seem like I'm making it? Am I progressing? Are there things that are being done that suggest that where I'm at, I'm not always going to be there? Have I set realistic goals? These questions are just meant to help, not to hurt, not to hinder. But we have to make sure that we're taking the time to evaluate and to listen. All right. Well, that's Father's Talk here with you, for you, with us, for us, and to us, to help and to aid us so that really we can do some dynamic things. And I just want to tell you this. I just want to share with you this. Believe in who you are. Believe in what you do. Because if it affects your life, it will be good for infecting and encouraging the life of others. So believe that you've got places to go. You've got things to do. And the time for your activity, the time for your productivity is right now. It's right now. So even though we've still got a month and 4 days left here in the year, so 35 days left, let's make it 35 of the most impactful days that we've ever seen in our entire lifetime. Let's let these days truly work and benefit us so that we come out of 2021 greatly, strongly, powerfully looking forward to 2022, because we know we've already gotten the ball rolling. We've opened up doors. We've created opportunities. And now it's just time to walk through. I tell you, you can still do it before the year is out. You can still do it before the year is out. So make up in your mind, I'll be productive. I'll get myself ready. I will produce. I will generate good activity. I will listen to wise counsel. And I will see myself moving forward. All right. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part. And I'm looking and hoping to hear great responses as far as what's come up before you, what's helped, what's been beneficial, and looking for just an explosive remaining 2021, so that going into 2022, there's just open opportunity everywhere. All right. See you again soon. Talk to you later. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Until next time.